In this lesson, we will focus on intonation and text stress. A trouble spot for many ELLs is a type of miscommunication that arises from what Celsia Murcia and Osteen referred to as inappropriate prosody. Prosody is the study of the tune and rhythm of speech and how these features contribute to meaning, including those aspects of speech that typically apply to a level above that of the individual phoneme, and very often to sequence of words. Prosody allows the speaker to accurately convey his or her message and intention to the interlocutor. Prosody includes the suprasegmental aspects of phonology, including the rhythm patterns, syllable stress, and intonation of English. If a speaker uses inaccurate intonation, the interlocutor may not understand the message that is being communicated. Intonation is about how we say things rather than what we say. When incorrect intonation is used, it becomes more difficult to understand the expressions and thoughts that go with words. Some languages, such as Chinese, are tone languages. However, English is not. The English word ma does not change meaning by using different tones. A high-pitched ma or a low-pitched ma can be used, but the meaning is retained. Conversely, the meaning of the word ma in Chinese changes with the pitch. For example, ma used with a low pitch, ma, means to scold. It is imperative that teachers provide instruction on the suprasegmental aspect of phonology. A question that emerges is whether or not students need direct intonation practice, or can it be learned by being exposed to natural speech? Celso Murcia argues that since intonation unit signals are not universal, students will need lots of practice. In addition to intonation, our lessons will focus on stress. Stress is part of the rhythm of a language, the pattern of stressed syllables and unstressed syllables of which English sentences are formed. Appropriate sentence stress is important for comprehensible speech. If the stress pattern is incorrect, then listener comprehension will suffer. Many ESL and EFL students lack an understanding of English sentence stress, often giving each syllable equal length, resulting in difficult to understand speech. Our target learners are high school students living in East Asia who speak at a high intermediate level. These students are required to pass university entrance exams, and as instructors, we want them to do well on the exams, as well as acquire the ability to use their L2 in communicative contexts. Our target learners speak Chinese, Japanese, and Korean. English is not a tone language like Chinese, and there is an assumption that students whose L1 is also not a tone language will not have much difficulty with learning intonation patterns. However, students whose L1 is not a tone language have the same difficulty as students whose L1 is a tone language. All students at this level need practice with the intonation and stress patterns of English.
As Dion mentioned, students need practice with intonation and stress patterns in English. They need to not just be able to produce the appropriate intonation, but also recognize the differences in meaning that come from different stress patterns. Therefore, our lesson will focus on prosody in terms of both recognition and production. Prosodic knowledge is relevant for both speaking and listening. According to Sels Mercia and Ulstein, for example, prosody allows listeners to establish whether a piece of information in the communication is new or old, and whether or not it is relevant. Similarly, it allows speakers to signal new or old information, communicate a contrast, or correct and repair an utterance. In order to communicate with native speakers who use these features in their everyday language, English language learners need to be exposed to and have practice with variation in intonation. When introducing this topic, instructors need to keep in mind two important questions. How does intonation change the meaning of an utterance? And how can we help students recognize these changes in meaning? Our lesson will target both intonation production and listening comprehension. Even though our target learners are at the high intermediate level, they still need practice in both of these skill areas. Without a deep understanding of this particular language skill, students cannot achieve fluency and would be limited in their ability to express themselves. In our lesson, students will engage in controlled practice, awareness raising, making predictions, and group discussion activities.
We will now explore a lesson which will help our target learners practice these skills. The lesson consists of 3 parts: a warm-up, a script activity, and a homework assignment to reinforce the day's learning. Let's delve into each of these individual learning engagements. The warm-up activity will involve putting text stress on different words within a single sentence to see how it changes the meaning. First, the instructor will explain to students that they are going to practice changing the stress pattern on a sentence. In small groups, students read the sentence, each time placing emphasis on a different word within the sentence. Group members must think about the difference in meaning and discuss with each other what those differences might mean. Then, students will discuss as a class. The sentence we will use with students is a simple one. I never said she stole my money. However, the meaning of the sentence changes as different words are stressed. I never said she stole my money means, it wasn't me who said that. I never said she stole my money means, I did not ever say it. I never said she stole my money could mean, I implied it, or I wrote it down. I never said she stole my money means, I said someone stole it, but not her. I never said she stole my money might mean she borrowed the money. I never said she stole my money means it was someone else's money. And finally, I never said she stole my money means that she stole something else. It is up to the instructor to help students find these nuanced changes in meaning. After the warm-up, the instructor will introduce a short script to the students. We selected a script from The Avengers, a movie that a large portion of our population is familiar with. However, our target population of East Asian high school students has probably only seen it dubbed in their native language. This will make the context of the script and some of the stranger vocabulary, such as tesseract, a bit more accessible to them. However, it is unlikely that they will have heard the exact conversation in English. For those students for whom the film may be unfamiliar, review the context of the conversation and any challenging vocabulary as a class. First, give the students an opportunity to read the script independently and make some preliminary predictions about the intonation or text stress. Then, in partners, the students will read the script out loud together, each of them taking on one role. As they read aloud, they will have an opportunity to discuss their choices of text stress and tone, making changes if necessary, and then reading it again. Once students have read through the script at least twice and feel they have an accurate prediction of the conversation, the class will watch the film clip together. While watching, they should take notes of the intonation and text stress they hear. They can discuss as a class how the meaning of each sentence was altered by the intonation and text stress the actors used. Finally, based on their notes, students will return to their partner to try to recreate the actual conversation. As homework, students will complete a listening activity. They will be given access to a number of audio recordings of different statements. Their task will be to transcribe them, underline the word or words that are stressed in the sentence, and identify the tone or intonation of the utterance. This will help to reinforce the day's lesson on intonation and text stress, and allow them continued practice in listening comprehension. Now, Andrea will present a brief conclusion.